Bill?
Of course.
Do my sharing.
I'll take those early reigns from you, Johnny boy. And
All right.
hey guys, if you're just catching us right away, or if you're watching the repeat, what we're doing is we're just waiting for the streams to catch up for Facebook. If you are wanting to watch us, if you're watching this later, check out our Facebook. We're a comic book look. We got a group. We stream on Rainbow Comics, our favorite comic shop's Facebook page. You got to check that out. But if you are just catching us live, guys, we are going to be kicking it off shortly. We're talking about this week's comics like you guys know we do every week. You can see we got a little bit of a special guest, a big one this week, so we're super stoked. But, you know, it's Comic Book Wednesday. The new comics were on the shelf. DC, we know you come out on Tuesday. We don't care. It's still Comic Book Wednesday to us. And so I got to the shop today. I picked up my comics. I know our guest did. I know Johnny Boys never misses one, so I don't even have to ask him.
I couldn't go today.
But I would say, John, we're ready to rock. Let's start this puppy up, dude.
All right. Well, you guys, best drum roll I can manage on a glass desk, per tradition. Hey everyone, it's a comic book look. It's your boy John on Demand, looking so Clark Kent fresh this evening. It's Comic Book Sabbath, looking fierce. You know what else is fierce? Having a Frappuccino right before you go to bed. So that's what's up right there. I want my sugar. I got my sweet tooth, and there's nothing sweeter than hanging out with my co-CEO, Tom Devine. There can only be one, a.k.a. the Midwest Highlander with that long hair, flowing mane. And of course, you guys, special guests. We are joined by someone who brings smiles, charm, wit, and all things in between. Dan Bublitz Jr. is in the building. And this is like a crazy prophecy. Dan and I were talking before the show. Dan and I are people that we like see each other. We know each other on the community. And then Tom's like, I'm bringing on Dan tonight. And I'm like, all right, that's awesome. Let's do it. So Dan, thank you. And welcome to the show.
I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me. This is right up my alley.
Awesome.
Yes, indeed, man. We're so stoked to have you on. And as you know, I mean, as you know, people that are watching this know we are a comic book podcast, but you know, we are emphasizing that comic tonight because we are actually having a stand-up comedian on tonight, not just a comic book, but this isn't just a normal stand-up comedian. I actually met this guy through SuperCon, which is a comic book convention, which he helped run and promote and host and do all sorts of different things. Did actually stand up at the con. And through that, I, you know, checked out his video game tattoos and I see all the cool things that he has around him. I'm like, man, this is a cool dude. And we hit it off, and he's been a great follow on Twitter and Instagram and all the different places. And always exciting to catch up with Dan. So, you know, like I said, like John said, thanks for coming on, man.
That's my pleasure. I like to support too. I'm right there on the social media trying to support everybody because we're a small but mighty crew.
That's right, man. We always talk about the comic book community and how strong it really is. So, you know, super stoked to have you on. So let's learn a little bit about you. You know, as viewers, maybe you don't know Dan. I'm sure a lot of you do, but some of you may not. And for those that don't, let's get familiar with you, Dan. Tell us a little bit about yourself today, and then we'll get a little bit of your history after that.
All right. Well, today I am a stand-up comedian. Well, trying to get back to being a stand-up comedian. Obviously, after the last year, it's been a little weird for everybody. But yeah, so I'm a stand-up comedian. I've been doing stand-up comedy for about 11 years. I also have a comedy podcast called The Art of Bombing, and where I talk to other comedians about bombing and what they learned from it. And when I'm not doing comedy or doing my podcast, I'm probably reading comic books and watching nerdy movies and playing D&D. In fact, I just got done playing D&D. That's right here, right now. That's really literally the now. I just finished before we went live.
That's so awesome, man.
I gotta jump in here. Dan, I got my dice bag right here. All right.
Oh, nice.
So tell me about D&D. I got to hear a little bit about this.
So we haven't actually played for a while. It's been crazy with everything going on. Because I play online with some friends. two of them are high school friends, so we go way back. One is he goes back to grade school. We've been friends for over 30 years. But anyway, so one friend's in Alaska. A couple of them are in the group are in Sioux Falls. One's in Fargo, and then I'm up here in the city. So we just play online, and we've been using Fantasy Grounds. So it's the only thing I don't like about it's cool being able to play D&D online like that, but I don't have we don't use real dice. It's all digital and while it's fun, it's just not the same. But we haven't played like in 3 or 4 months just because everybody's been busy doing stuff. So we finally got to play, and we didn't do a whole lot. It was more of like, where did we leave off? Like trying to figure out where we left off, what was going on, trying to get our bearings back together and figure out what we're going to do next. We had some magic items that we had to go through, figure out what they did, so on and so forth. So it was mostly just getting reacquainted with the campaign and a little bit of role playing and then checking out our magical items. So it wasn't a whole lot of anything crazy, but we're getting ready to go fight like 30 ogres. And so it should be fun the next session.
Absolutely. Well, may the odds be in your favor.
Well, right now they're not. I mean, it's 30 ogres and orgs, and there's like 5 of us, and we're only like level 3. So it's not. Oh. Not in our favor.
Yep. I gotcha. Cool. Well, sorry, Tom. You know how I get when it comes to the dice.
Oh, my favorite tangent so far this podcast.
There'll be plenty of them.
Exactly. So yeah, let's get into your history though, Dan. I mean, you're coming on here. You're a stand-up comedian. You say here in the comics, we'll see about that.
Oh yes, we will.
But let's hear a little bit about your relationship with comics, how you got into comics, nerddom, the ebbs and flows that every comic reader has with comics and different things. And let's hear about yours up to where you're at right now. Let's get that Dan Bublitz comic book history.
All right. Well, I have just a history, just a nerdy history in general. I mean, as long as I can remember, I've always been into nerdy things. For me, I think the earliest memory I have of nerddom would be Super Friends. Watching that cartoon, I had Justice League action figures when I was like 4 or 5. I had like the Hall of Justice. I had my Aquaman and my Wonder Woman and my Batman and my Superman. And so I was always a big like toy person, and then from there I got into, He-Man and G.I. Joe and just, I don't know, I just attracted those kinds of people. I got lucky. My circle growing up, we were all kind of into the same thing. Cool. And so, it was mostly toys, action figures, a lot of that. And I, believe it or not, sometimes it's hard for people to believe, I was a big sports card collector for a long time, really into baseball cards and stuff. And I collected trading cards, when I was in 2nd and 3rd grade, it was Garbage Pail Kids, then from there, that's probably what led to the sports cards and getting the bubble gum, and the Topps baseball packs. I don't know. Do they still do that? Is gum still a thing? Probably not.
The gum has far left it, but pulling packs is sure not a.
No, I realize that. In fact, during the pandemic, sports card collecting blew up again.
Oh,
from
really?
What I understand. Yeah, cool. There's and same, just like collecting in general, especially regular department stores. Like Target was putting up signs, and there's people waiting out in lines trying to get in there to buy their sports cards and stuff. Like during the pandemic, it was crazy. Wild, but from there, I mean, I grew up in Huron, South Dakota, and when I was growing up, I think there's about 20,000 people. It's in a lot smaller now than it was when I was growing up there. But we had a comic book, sports card place out at the mall. So I would go out there, get my sports cards. But as far as comic book collecting goes, I mean, that goes back. I don't know. The first comic book that I remember buying myself and really kind of getting me into comic books was Ren and Stimpy Powder Toast Man.
Hell yeah, man.
And I got that. There was this there, and it's still there. The store's there. It's called Square Deal, and it was just this little corner market that was in my neighborhood. And they used to have like penny candies and nickel candies, and they had one of the spinner racks with comic books. And anytime I'd get any money, me and my friends, we'd all go to Square Deal and spend it on candy and comic books. And that's where I got the first comic book. But collecting, really, I didn't really get into into reading and stuff until I got a lot older. I went back and forth because I was a big gamer. So late teens, early 20s, I was more into Magic the Gathering, Hero Clicks, Star Wars miniatures, role playing. I've been doing that since I was probably in middle school, because like I said, I got lucky with my friend group and we were all nerds doing the same stuff. It was video games, role playing, comic books, action figures, there was one person in my group that did something, one friend was big into Ninja Turtles. I was big into He-Man. Another friend was big into G.I. Joe figures and Legos or whatever. And we all just ended up kind of in the same circle. So that was really awesome for us.
Yeah, that's gnarly, especially in Huron, South Dakota. I mean, you never know what you're going to get. And then, hey, to have that experience is pretty damn awesome. It sounds great to me. So let's go.
Yeah.
I mean, you get to becoming to grow up through action figures, collecting of sorts, and then you get to be an adult and you start reading comics. How does that come about? And then tell us your story. I hear you got quite the Easter egg.
Yeah, so I actually got big into gaming, like I said, and I got into gaming. I was a little bit late to Magic the Gathering, because it did come out in high school. A lot of my friends played it when we were in high school. I didn't start playing it until my early 20s, and I got into it because I used to work for a company called PBM Packaging, which is over in Howard, South Dakota. And they were, I don't know if they're still in business, but they're an overwrap company. And what they did is they packaged Magic the Gathering cards and Pokemon cards, and they did sports cards and stuff like that. But they had a big contract with Wizards of the Coast. And so we were packaging Magic the Gathering cards, but we would have what they call these hand lines. And what we would do, so we worked 12-hour shifts. It was like a rotating where we'd work 2 days on, 2 days off, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And they were 12-hour shifts. And there were times where we'd be on what they called a hand line, which was basically you would have a deck of cards. You'd have to go through, look for the defective card, and then pull that card out of there. So for 12 hours, we're just sitting there going through cards. Ooh. And yeah, I know, very mundane. That's exactly, you get bored. Well, then I started reading the cards and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool, and the different artwork and checking it out. Well, then from there, I started collecting those.
And how crazy is that for somebody who's would be into Magic the Gathering to just be sorting through just, thousands of cards, of cards, I'm sure that would be, I mean, even though I made that face that was like, oh man, I don't know if I could do that. I bet there's people that would kill for that. Our friend Skylar, big Magic guy.
Yep.
That asshole would love to just look through thousands of,
Oh man, he'd have been so sad at how much, because for a couple, there was a while where I got put in the warehouse, and if it was a defective product, they destroyed it. So I threw a lot of Magic cards in a shredder, and it was very sad. Anytime I had to go help with the shredding, I was a very sad person. That's emotional stress from a job you can't handle. Every day I was just like, oh my God, thousands and thousands of dollars just got shredded. I should probably be struck down by God because I am betraying everything nerd here. I should be, if I was a real nerd, I'd be trying to rescue all of this stuff and save it from the dragon.
Oh, that's funny, man. Yeah, crazy. Oh, that's great.
But yeah, I mean, and then from there, because I started collecting Magic cards, I was more of a collector than a gamer. And then I decided to have some friends that teach me how to play. And I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And then I actually opened my own comic book store in Watertown with a friend. Yes.
What? You're a comic book store owner? That's
yes. Cool. Yeah. We were, I was opened it up with a partner, and we opened up in like 2003, and we were open until 2009. We opened up actually in my house, just selling on eBay and selling online. And then we had distributors and stuff. So we would sell to our friends that were into nerdy things. They would just come to my house.
Sure.
And then we opened a physical location in Watertown. And of course, from there, that's where I started getting more into comic books, because I wasn't as big into comics then. Like I said, I was more into gaming, but my business partner, he was big into comics, still did a little bit of gaming, and still does. He's kind of, but he was always more the comic book guy than the gamer. Like, he would buy the stuff and he would play, but he's always been a comic book guy. So between the two of us, we opened this place up.
Gamut covered.
What's that?
You had the full gamut covered at that. I mean, with
absolutely,
right?
Absolutely, yeah. But then from there, being at the comic book store and going through previews and ordering for the store and seeing what other people were ordering, that's where I started picking up comics and reading more. Reading more and more. I mean, and I remember, like, I'm really sad that I didn't get into The Walking Dead when it came out. Like, we had it, and I remember people went crazy over it. I was like, yeah, that's cool. It's zombies. And now, like, a Walking Dead #1, worth over $2,000, and it's like, damn it! I should have bought it.
That's the truth, man. That's the truth.
No, 2 questions for you. Just talking about owning that brick and mortar, rocking that business. So 2 questions, and this is that typical interview question, but I'm just curious.
Go for it.
Biggest highlight or joy that you found with owning the shop, and biggest challenge.
Well, the biggest challenge, and obviously we failed, was keeping it open.
Sure.
6 years is a long time.
6 years, yeah. We made it 6 years. And then, unfortunately, the economy went to crap. And, I mean, that's really what happened with it. It was a situation where, we were in the recession, and a lot of people the people who spent a lot of money at my shop lost their jobs. And of course, the first thing when you lose a job, you have to cut your disposable the income that you're spending on hobbies and stuff has to get cut until you have another job. So
yeah, for most
because
people,
of that,
in my order, it's I cut
groceries,
power, groceries, water, kids' clothes, kids' food, then comics. That's where it is. I mean, that's just me.
I don't blame you, man. I'm kind of the same. I'd be like, I find a way,
Yeah, exactly, man. I'm so broke, but yeah, how much did you spend on comics this month? I didn't ask you about that.
Yeah, right. But yeah, that was the biggest challenge. The thing that I got that was the most rewarding was bringing so many people together in Watertown. So while there were friend groups that were kind of, did their nerdy things together, the shop really brought people that they didn't know were in Watertown, and so it really grew the nerdy scene there and the group. We and a lot of my best friends I met because they came and hung out at the shop. Like my friends that I'm still friends with. In fact, one of the people that I was just playing D&D with, he's a friend that I met through the comic book shop. He actually worked for me for a while at the comic book shop. So like cool. A lot of my strong relationships come from having that shop. So, and It was cool to see so many different people, like I said, come from different walks of lives, come together and play games together and hang out together, who wouldn't have necessarily ended up in the same circle had it not been for the comic book shop. So for me, that was always the most rewarding thing.
Great question, John. That was awesome. Yeah.
I always am curious because there's so much that goes into owning a business, let alone a comic shop. So it's so interesting to hear your insights. So.
Yeah. I mean, we had so much fun. I mean, there were nights where the comic book shop, we were hanging out there way past the closing of the bars. Like there's many nights on the weekends where the public parking ends at like 2 a.m. and we'd be role playing or playing video games at the comic book shop, we'd have to go, oh, bars are closed. Oh, we got to go move our cars to public parking and get them off the street so we don't get tickets. We'd go do that, and then we'd come back to the shop, and we'd be there till like 4 a.m, playing D&D or some role-playing game. It was great.
Hell yeah, man. That is so sweet, dude. So 2009 happens, and then I know you go straight up comedian style. I think you moved to California even for a while, and then to back to Sioux Falls is where I meet you in SuperCon. You cover a lot of ground in that time. So I mean, through building your career and adjusting from being a business owner to being a performer, are you able to keep up with comics during that time?
No. So I started comedy in 2010, and I moved like 6 months after I started comedy pretty much to California. So it was June of 2011. And before I moved, I pretty much, I sold all my magic cards, all my hero clicks. Mm-hmm. I sold all my comic books. That money was either going to pay bills that I owed or to, to kind of help get me moved and stuff. So I pretty much got rid of everything. I get out to California. It's so expensive. I'm not making a ton of money. I didn't really buy crap for a long time, honestly. In fact, I got back into comics about, I don't know, probably 5 or 6 months before I moved back to the Midwest. I found this cool little shop in Ocean Beach. Started getting a few comics here and there because I had a little bit of a disposable income, not a lot, but I could get a few comics a month. So started doing that. And then when I moved back, I had a little bit more money. So I don't have kids and very minimal bills and everything. So that's where I started putting my money. So well, awesome. And it's been going. So I've gotten back into comics pretty hard, probably within the last 5-6 years now. So and now I'm pretty regular at my shop.
And you read cool, interesting stuff. So I always like following you and see what you're reading. So let's get into it, John. Let's figure out what we're reading, buddy. Did you pick up some books this week or what, man?
I did, man.
I got a whole stack.
Ooh, boy.
Yeah, I spent more than I probably should have.
Yeah, me too.
But that's how it always is.
Exactly. Rainbow so graciously got me Reckless, this hardcover that I've really wanted.
Mine's coming in next week.
So I have the sequel right here, Friend of the Devil, but I don't have Reckless #1. So I've been reading this, and because I didn't have the first one, and they said they were going to get it, and it's in, but then I was like, I couldn't drop another $30 on my top of my $50. So I was like, just hold it till payday Friday, and the old wife won't mind as much if I double down on mine. So
I'm in the opposite boat. I have book 1 in my shop. For whatever reason, the manager doesn't do the ordering, the owner does, and he's like, I have no idea, but they only ordered 4, and I knew we were going to need more than these. So I've already put in another order. It's just a matter of when they send them. Yeah. But it's on the invoice for next week. So I'm going to get my sequel next week. And awesome. I'm very excited because that Reckless, I think, is a really good book. I really like the first one.
Oh, that's awesome to hear. I'm super stoked. Yeah, my favorite.
Sean Phillips and Ed Brubacher are probably my favorite team. I've been obsessive. In fact, one of the couple of things I got today, I got Fatale book 3 and 4, and I've already read 1 and 2. So I've been going since I kind of got back into comics a little bit later. I discovered them a little bit later, which is cool. Sad to some people, but it's also cool because now there's a giant backlog of comics of theirs that I'm getting. With graphic novels and trade paperbacks and all that kind of stuff. So because I was a big fan of Criminal.
Yeah, this is so good. I mean, I love everything they do too. So you're preaching to the choir, man. They're so good.
Dan,
I was telling. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to ask, what shop are you rocking with?
Me?
Yeah.
Up here, I rock with Hot Comics and Collectibles in Richfield. I love them.
Yep.
I do too. I love them.
They got like
3 shops up here
for me, and it was very good. Yeah.
That's honestly, I didn't really shop around for other comic book shops. The deal is I came up here for a gig I'd come up to the cities for gigs when I was living in South Dakota. And I went in there like once or twice when I was just in town, and they were just always so cool. So when I moved here, I was just like, I'm just going to go there. I like these guys. So
yeah.
I didn't even like look around for other shops. That's just where I went. So
yep, they're a good one.
That's the way.
And I think part of it is they remind me a lot of Rainbow. So that's with all the toys and comics and like it's like everything. So I guess the only thing that Hot Comics I don't think has is sports stuff, but whatever. Sure. It's got the stuff I care about, so that's all. Yeah. But definitely reminded me of Rainbow, so I think that's why I went there.
Awesome.
Because I remember going to Rainbow when I was a little kid. Like I will always have like a spot in my heart for Rainbow Comics because I remember going there when before they're in the location that they were in, when they were over by Hy-Vee or wherever they were.
Yeah, Nickel
down the road.
Now, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting some notes in here.
Oh.
Actually, so just wanting to catch up. Aaron Evans says, Hot Comics in Richfield is the best. Aaron is a longtime viewer of our show, Dan, so he is actually up in the Twin Cities area.
Yeah, I rock with them. You know what's funny about that, actually? I think another reason why I really liked them, because that one time that I went there when I was up here doing comedy, I walked in and the first thing I saw was the big airship, the G.I. Joe airship.
Oh, yeah.
Like the massive one, It was like just sitting on a counter right when I walked in, and I was like, oh my God, I've never seen this before. This is amazing. How much is it? Oh, I can't afford that, but it's still cool because it was like $1,200. And then they've had one since, actually, in there.
Rare.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Awesome. That's awesome. Friend of the show, Bill Zanowitz. Hey, fellas from the new 51 or 53. Ooh. So, Dan, just so you know, Bill legit owns about 51% of DC Comics ever published. So he has his own separate like bunker that he stores things in. I am friends with him on Facebook. I think Tom, you are too, right? So you see like
that's our boy
post.
Bill.
So Bill is watching these
nice.
old DC cartoons like constantly. Like, he knows his stuff, and so I did tell Bill. By the way, we're having him on sometime with a theme show that I'm still brainstorming. So
nice.
Him
and my old business partner would get along really well because my business partner is a huge DC guy. He's been collecting since he was like 8.
Heck yeah, that's awesome. And of course,
we still
Brian James. Oh yeah, Brian, just say nerd. So I don't know who that's directed to though, because I think we're all nerds.
Just out of curiosity, before you move on, real quick, have you ever been into Rainbow Cards and Comics on like a Saturday, and there was like this like mean-looking, creepy dude sitting at a folded card table going through comic books?
I mean, sure.
No, this is legit. No, legit. So my friend Steve,
I have.
Who used to be my business partner, he does it. Like, he buys so many comics when he comes up there, they have to pull out a card table out for him. He sits out in front of the counter going through his stuff to check it off to make sure everything came to, like, do the checks and balances.
I have not seen that then. That is awesome.
It's a legit thing. Sometimes on a Saturday when he goes up, because he only goes up there probably like once a month, maybe once every other month, and just gets all his stuff at once. So
that's awesome.
You'll know if you see the dude sitting at the card table going through. He'll have like stacks of comics like this.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah, man. John, what'd you get this week?
I don't even know where to begin, you guys. So we'll kick it off here with something, Tom, that I love my shinies. And
boy,
so
that is shiny.
I am not. Yeah, this is. I can like do a tan right now. Like I'm in California in high school class, just tan my face.
That's what it looks like. It looks like you're sitting outside with one of those tinfoil things.
So we have Buffy the Vampire Slayer, issue 25. This is completely stupid that I purchased this issue, but it was a shiny cover, and I want to say that is Faith in the back. So Faith is the evil-ish Slayer from the show, and I freaking love Faith. And so, I don't know. That's just two things right there, and I looked up and I said yes. And it was the last one, and so I just reached up. I parted the red seas of everybody else because it was Wednesday at 10, and it's like a mosh pit at the New Wall, and said no, and then I reached for it.
Yeah, you can't help it. I mean, it's like you're like Smeagol. You see the ring, and you have to have
precious,
it.
bro. Yeah. You know, I think of myself more as a Boo in the Cave of Wonders, and I want to like just handle all the treasure books, you know. So yeah. Except I don't think they make vests in my size. So. Oh man. Yeah.
All right, Dan,
that's my first part. Yeah.
All right, let's see. Well, we'll start with this, because I was more into this before I got into comics. This is a callback, but I started reading this new Magic the Gathering comic book.
Very nice.
I picked up Magic the Gathering number
Is that Boom?
2.
Boom Studios? Is that Boom Studios?
Yes, it is Boom Studios.
Okay.
Yes. Issue 1 was it was pretty good. I mean, it was a little slow. I mean, because they're building characters and building the plot. But it was pretty good. It has, it follows different planeswalkers, and it looks like they're about to go to a big war. So so far, the first issue was pretty good. Hopefully the second issue is pretty good.
Awesome.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that. I was like, oh man, they are going to hit a lot. And I always feel like if Magic the Gathering fans didn't know about this book, it's probably a smart pickup, because they'll hear about it later and then be like, what, there was a comic series? And then, it'll be like, oh yeah, I have it. So
one thing that they did that was really cool with it, and I didn't pick it up. I probably should have. I was like, biting my, I'm kind of kicking myself in the butt about it, but they actually did a Magic pack.
Oh,
where it was, they had a bunch of the alt covers all bundled together for like $20. So there was like, I don't know, 5 or 6 number ones all together of different covers, like a pack. Like it was pretty cool. I probably should have got it, but
no, you shouldn't.
Like,
one is fine.
That's how I was like, I'm gonna read it. I'm more of a reader. Like, I don't collect to collect. I like to read my comics, and the comics that I read is what I collect. Pretty much, I would say 98% of all the comics that I own currently today, I've read them 98% of them.
Hell yeah, man. That's the way to do it, man. The gold's on the inside. Johnny, even though he is more of a collector, he still reads it like gold's on the inside, just like me, baby. So
that's good. That's good. You got to read them, because otherwise, what's the point of having them if you're not going to enjoy the art and the story?
Well, Tom, I thought you were giving me crap, because sometimes, Dan, I do buy 2 or 3 covers of the same book because I like the cover. I'm a little bit of a show pony, and it's so worthless because I complain about space, and I am my own worst enemy. So dumb. It is so dumb.
Yeah, it's funny because I was just thinking about that when I moved back from California. I think I had 1 short box of comics, maybe 2 by then, and now I have like 7 or 8. I use short boxes because they just fit better, just kind of like yours behind you. They fit better on shelves.
Exactly.
So I've been using them, but now I have like 7 or 8 of them full.
Yeah, the struggle is real. I do want to get the comments. Mike said, is this live? Yes, it is live. We're just live, Mike. We're just ignoring you, dude. Come on. My Little Pony came out this week. Well, congratulations, Mike. I'm so happy. All the bronies can rejoice. Anyway, and now it's my turn to talk about a book that I think, Mike, you might be picking this one up too, but we got Chip Zdarsky with Silver Coin. This is this is Kelly Thompson. Chip did only the first one. So this is that book that the writer is changing with every issue. It's from Image, but the artist is staying the same. So it's like an anthology, and it's about this coin. And the first one was by Chip, and it was so good. It was about a band that sucks. Then they get a coin, and then they dominate, and they are the best band. But things go way wrong, and it's way too evil. And then that's how it ends, and the coin gets passed on to the next possibly thing, and it's kind of seems like no matter what you're into, the coin will make you better at that thing. But it has a lot
What's that called?
The Silver Coin. I think you'd like it for sure, Dan. But super interesting. So I'm really excited to get this take, because in that one, they gave it to like a firefighter who had to pick up at the end. There was a big fire, and the firefighter picked it up. So it looked like it was going to continue with them. But then this one is completely different in a different time zone. So now we're getting like a slasher movie vibes off this one. That's in, like, looks like it takes place in the 80s, and the other one, you know, took place in a different time. So it's awesome so far. Really stoked on this book, though.
Exciting. I wrote that down. I might have to. I like the idea of it being an anthology, where it's if they change the writers and keep the artist, or even if they keep the same writer, but it's a different story every time. That's awesome. That's a great concept for a comic.
It's cool.
Oh shit! It's my turn. Whoops.
Yeah, your turn.
I was like, Tom, what's next? Okay, it's my turn. All right, you guys. Well, I'm gonna copy Dan because they say imitation is the biggest form of flattery, and so. Also from Boom Studios, and equally as mystic and prolific, I bring to you Mighty Morphin #7 with Lord Zed hanging out with Zordon in the command center, and it's been cool. Like, I was originally complaining about how we split them up into 2 series or whatever, but I've had a chance to catch up on some of my back reading, and both series are actually really freaking entertaining, and I love it. It just takes what we grew up on, what we came home to, you know, from school to watch, into something a little more crazy and severe, and it's a lot of fun just to see what's next for the characters. So I'm glad I'm sticking with it. Art has just been great all the way through. Story has been great. I couldn't be happier. So,
and I gotta say, John, they have just been so consistent. You know, they don't miss months. It comes out on a normal basis. It always has a cool cover. So even though I wouldn't read any of that, it's that Boom editors and like the Boom production also that can get behind it and then keep it on track and, you know, make sure that I'm stoked. I'm stoked that it's that you keep on picking it up, man, because it's a book that I wouldn't take that license, but I mean, why not? Now it makes me want to go check it out. I want to read some Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, man. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. Get your
all about that nostalgia.
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, in that fashion, I'm just gonna tag the nostalgia, and this next book I might get some crap for, but I don't care. I decided that I wanted to read this because who doesn't love Batman and Scooby-Doo? And then you put them into a comic together, a crossover. You can't go wrong with that, I don't feel like. So, so I picked up, this is #2 of 12. The first one was actually pretty good. There's some time travel. They had to go back in time, and it's a fun little book. Like I said, it's very nostalgic. And for me, especially, my mom was a big Scooby-Doo fan. So, you know, and she passed away years and years and years ago. So it's like, this is kind of a cool little thing, just as a little reminder.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Cool. Yeah. Who ain't going to love some Scooby-Doo and Batman? Come on.
Right?
All right. I got up next, Ice Cream Man, #24. Yeah. So Ice Cream Man #24, we get that, you know, midsummer, like bright color horror book that's all around this Ice Cream Man. Each one is a one shot. And it tells just crazy, horrible stories in like the brightest of pastel colors.
Is it the same writer or same artist that does Ha?
Writer.
Isn't it? It's the writer. That's what I thought.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like Ha is just another Ice Cream Man.
Similar to that, I imagine. Yeah,
exactly.
That's what I thought.
The Ha was like he gets to tell those stories with different artists on all of them. And then this one, the artist always stays the same. Or there have had some guest artists, but it's this really lined detail, like no shading, always. It's very, very specific. It's so good, though. But yeah, so Ice Cream Man, really haunting cover as well.
Yeah, that's actually why I picked up Ha was because that was one that looked intriguing, the Ice Cream Man. But by the time it was so many issues, I was like, I don't want to have to try to go back and get them all. Because I'm one of them people that's like, I got to read it from the beginning. Even if it's different, it's still, I got to have it, you know, that collector's compulsion.
We all feel you, man.
Well, jumping on the DC train then with Dan again, picking up one of the biggest offering that DC had this week. We're talking, of course, The Joker, issue #3.
Oh,
yeah. Cool. If this doesn't give you summer vibes, I don't know what will. And I just got to say, the coloration on the color, teal with pink, is sexy as hell. I love it.
That reminds me of the Palm Springs, the movie with
Yeah, man.
Mhm.
like
Um,
I feel like that's like one of the cover like to that movie.
Exactly.
Andy Samberg like on a floaty.
Mhm. Mhm.
Those colors are sick, dude. I mean, that cover
They are.
sticks out, man.
I love
Yeah.
it.
Yes, it
I just
really
was like,
pops.
I'll take that one. I just read issue 2 actually yesterday, because I'm trying to get caught up on stuff, and it's been a really fun ride so far. It's nice because I feel like this one could stay around for a little bit, just a little bit, because usually these are typically like a 6-issue situation and then they're done. But the story is really cool with Commissioner Gordon going after him on a paid job to kill him. So there's a lot of ethics going on. Last issue, it was revealed that he knew that Barbara was the Oracle and Batgirl. So he dropped that bomb on her, like a mic drop, and so that was pretty cool. And yeah, I'll be curious to see where this one goes. But issue 2 is quite enjoyable, so I was like, oh, I'll get that one. So I'm looking forward to it.
Nice.
Very cool. Very cool.
Good. All right. I've been reading. I got Scouts Honor number 5 came in today. Very excited. I really enjoyed this book so far and this story because it's set like in an I'm having a stroke or something right now.
I've never even heard of that book.
Apocalyptic. There we go. That's the word I was trying to say. An apocalyptic. Now I can't say it. Can't say it twice in a row. And oh my God, I'm having one of them. I'm having. Yes, thank you. In the future, yeah.
Dude, I've never even seen that book. I don't even think. What's the publisher?
It's really good. It's Aftershock.
Oh, nice, man! I can't.
Yeah. So Aftershock. So there's like a few like really good independent studios that I've really like. Almost everything that I've gotten from them, I've always been pretty happy with, and it's Aftershock is one, and so is Vault.
That's me and John's bread and butter right there. Yeah.
Yeah. So far it's really good. It's about these scouts in the future, but there's the one that's trying to be the main scout or whatever actually isn't a boy. So sorry, spoiler, but
nice.
It's actually really good.
Yeah,
there's a nice twist. I should have left it at that. There's a nice twist in it, but there's actually a couple nice twists in it.
Okay, so you're still fine. All right, so let's get on my Tom hating Marvel high horse here really quick. We got Heroes Reborn. Classic comic book fan, complain about Marvel all the time. Still gives them his money on a normal basis. And when I got the first one, like I said last week, John, that it was Jason Aaron, and I was really excited to be, because I can't read Southern Bastards anymore, and I wanted Jason Aaron, and I was like, oh, I can't wait to get on this book that I assumed would come out one a month. Okay. Yeah. Then you get to the end, and they have the goddamn checklist thing, and I know that I just signed up for way too much, and we have with this checklist, I see that we're getting another book this week, and so once again, at least it wasn't like $7 or whatever the last one was. This was only $5. I can't believe I'm okay with just saying this is only $5, but this is only $5. I'm definitely not picking any of these tie-ins in. I'm just gonna go with the main series because I liked the first one. So it's like, even though I want to hate on Marvel, man, they get the good writers, and it's fun being in this area, and it's about this world where people have forgotten, and then you guys, I love Blade, so then Blade's like kind of the character that you're going along with. It's totally a good book, so I'm super stoked to actually crack into this, even though I am paying too much for it, even though it is coming out weekly. Thank you, Marvel. You always know how to steal my money, but at least I'm getting some good entertainment out of it.
Well, all right. Well, before we hop in, super nice note here from Mike Willer. Hey, guys, Wednesday night is my night off from work. You guys bring the week to an end perfectly. Thank you for what you do. Well, thank you for tuning in. Awesome. We appreciate you hanging out with us and for lifting that up. I, too, picked that up. I actually... Tom is ahead of me. He loves Marvel so much that he is ahead of me in his Marvel reading. I never thought I'd see the day.
Me neither.
But I haven't read issue 1 yet, Tom. But I did crack open issue 2, and Sergeant America already spoiled it and posted it in the group. So that happened. That moment happened. So if you're on Facebook and you want to see what I'm talking about, feel free. But I'm going to lift up a sister title. So this is a feeder issue, like a supplement to that event, which is Hyperion and the Imperial Guard. So if you guys know one thing about me, it's that I love these obscure Marvel teams, one of which is the Shi'ar Imperial Guard. So if you watch the X-Men 90s cartoon at all and saw the Phoenix Saga or the Dark Phoenix Saga, boom, Shi'ar Imperial Guard right there. They're exactly where we need them to be, and they are. This title is going to be hands down better than the main story, I guarantee you. And they're going to crush this whole Marvel universe on a cosmic scale. I say that in jest. I don't know that, but I do believe it.
I believe that you believe it, and it's wrong.
That character, though, on the cover, he looks like the old Aquaman put on a Shazam suit.
Well, and that's the thing, Dan, about this team. Because Tom, what's the team called with Hyperion and all them? Squadron Supreme or something like that. Yeah, they are blatant ripoffs. Because there is like Whizzer who runs super fast. There's a Wonder Woman-esque character. Like, it is a blatant ripoff. It is hilarious. And Marvel is trying to make them serious and have this.
I just had it out. I just had the series out. But yeah, I mean, I love the series. I went through it to get familiar with those characters because I'm so stoked on it. But it's just they took the DC's Justice League and put them in Marvel.
Yeah.
So, oh, that's funny. Well then, that's hilarious.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes just because seeing the Imperial Guard having their own book just makes me happy. Yep, there you go.
Yep. So yeah, this is like the old. I mean, I'm sure you recognize it. It's super recognizable. It was originally this 12-issue series. But yeah, you got the classic Aquaman wearing the what'd you say, Flash suit or whatever?
No, Shazam
suit. So yeah, and that's a perfect way to lay it down.
I mean, and the other way it looked like it was like a little too much, but I was like, my first impression was, oh, it's Aquaman in a Flash suit with a Dr. Fate cape.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go deep. That's for all you real nerds like that.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
better.
If that does not give me nerd cred, I don't know what does.
Yeah, exactly. All right. What else?
All right.
Dan?
Yeah, I do. The next thing I picked up Space Bastards #5 today. So far, I've really enjoyed this series. I like the artwork. I like the cheesiness of it and the concept of it, that it's like, it's competitive mail carrying, which I think is hilarious. In space, no less.
And ultra violent. I mean,
yes,
it's great. Yeah, I need to catch up because, like, I think I missed like 2 issues, and then I saw like number 4, and I didn't pick it back up. So I need to go hunt those down. The first one was good. Yeah, I mean, the guy who drew The Boys originally, that Derek Robertson or Robertson or whatever, he's the one who's the artist. He's so good. I love it. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm, like I said, I've really been enjoying it, and that's the thing too. I do a lot of independent stuff, so like And I do a lot of the stuff that I do are short runs. Yeah. So like every 5 or 6 months, I'm getting some different stuff because my comics run out. So like I'm still spending the same amount of money, but I'm getting way more like titles and stuff that I got to read.
I know I love that. I do the same thing. I know a lot of people are like, oh, I heard this is a mini. I'm not going to do that. When I hear it's like a mini, I'm like, oh, 3 issues? That's right up my alley. That's perfect.
Yeah. Sign me up.
All right. My next book, Rorschach, Tom King coming in. I'm behind, but I'm really stoked on this, Watchmen world and good mystery, amazing art, top-notch writing. So can't go wrong.
I'm kind of man crushing on that gradient background.
Yeah, it is a good.
Yeah, that makes me happy. Okay. Well, I got just a couple more here. I did go ahead and John Nordstrom at Rainbow lifted up the DC Festival of Heroes #1. So it is a prestige format. Yep. So highlighting Asian characters in the DCU, and really looking forward to that. Upon flip through, this has exactly what I like. So DC has done quite a few of these, celebrating like the what is the 80th anniversary of some of the characters, I believe. I actually used to hate stuff like this where it wasn't one consistent story. Now I adore it. I love it because you get a different creative team every couple of pages. It's just fun. It's just good fun.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to dig into this one because I loved all the recent ones that they did last year.
I agree with you, John. And, Asian superhero celebration, of course, man, it's Asian Heritage Month right now. Yeah. Let's put some focus on it. It's cool to DC to do something like this. Let me get familiar. As John knows, he is always trying to get the next series and things like that, like where he's loving this now. This is kind of where I do love it because I don't have to be a part of a big series, or I don't have to know what's going on with continuity right now. I just get to go to these characters that I am familiar with, and I get to go get a little slice of life story or a little short story. And it usually is like, they have whatever, 3 to 10 short stories in here, and some of them are good and some of them are bad, but at the end I always think it's worth it. And shout out to DC for trying to put a little light on Asian celebration. So
yeah, I think that's cool. Comment coming in here from Mike. That's the way to do it. Pull list is easier to manage. Short runs are great. So definitely for Dan and Tom, I am the king of short runs, as I am on issue 100 and something of Batman volume whatever. For X-Men, I have a pretty good portion. I think I'm the new 74 of X-Men.
Yeah, exactly, dude. I was gonna say, I think X-Men, you mean 60 years worth, John. Then yeah.
So, Mike, that comment is definitely for Dan and Tom. I am terrible at that. I still do collect the short runs. I just prefer like a longer story because I'm a continuity junkie. So,
hey, to each their own.
Yes.
To each their own. My biggest thing. So I actually lost. I wasn't, because I owned a comic book store. That's why I'm not a big fan of the mainstream comics, because I saw what they did. Like anytime there was a major story arc or storyline, they had to arc it into every title to sell more of the books every month. So in order to get like the complete story, you had to get every like issue. You saw it with like Civil War, you saw it with Infinite Crisis, you saw it with DC's week 52 or whatever. Like it's just all that stuff. And because of that, I was like, I like independent stuff better, because then I just get the story, one book, one title, however many issues it is, and it's done. I don't have to worry about going and getting, reading X-Men, and then suddenly now I have to go dip into Fantastic Four or Spider-Man or something like that.
Yep, exactly. They know how to pull those dollars out of you, no doubt about it.
Yep.
They've been doing it for years. They're good at it. It's the nature of the beast, is they own
more power to them,
right?
Yeah.
So it's like, you'll pull me back in. John knows, I'm not buying a lot of superhero books right now, but it could be, check back in 2 years, I could be reading only superheroes. That's the ebb and flow of comics for me.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, don't get me wrong, I still pick up some. If I see a superhero book that's really intriguing, I'll pick it up. But most likely it's gonna be a short.
We see you, Scooby-Doo and Batman. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. All right. What else you got here?
All right. Okay, so the first few comics I were actually in my pull list. Now, these are just ones I randomly picked up off the shelf. And the first one I got is the oversized issue of Bella, King of Serpents. It's Zenscope. I've randomly been picking up some of the other Bella titles.
Nice.
Just because they're like one-shots. That's what they are. They're a 32-page one-shot. Like each one is its own story. Like I don't remember if it was last month or the month before, but I picked up Bella, Thunder of Gods, or something like that. But I really like the artwork that Zenscope does. Like they actually are a company that I think just started when I opened my comic book store back in like 2004 or something like that. Like they were new when we opened. And I've just really liked their stuff. They do stuff with like Grim Fairy Tales.
Yeah, that's their big standout is Grim Fairy Tales. It's always been the one that sells the most for them, and the one that I've read. But yeah, they have really stylized, sexy art, and it's that's super cool, man.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys have anything else?
Oh yeah.
Okay, good. I was gonna say, I still have you.
My next one is You Promised Me Darkness #2. We got real dark, black and white horror.
Oh, that's nice.
You know, we're talking real indie, real blown out. It's so good. This is exactly what I love. You know, you turn the lights on low, put one behind you, and
that looks so sexy.
Exactly. Behemoth. I just kind of pick up what Behemoth puts out, and you know, they definitely push the barrier. They've been pulling in different people from horror movies and horror films that are like low budget creators and stuff like that to make these. Sometimes you can't get everything into the movie, or sometimes you want to tell more. And hey, comics are that place. It's a pretty cool spot. So, yeah.
Do you have since you're more of an independent guy, do you have a favorite independent house?
Yeah, Vault. Right now,
okay.
I'm currently I guess I'm Image, always have been, but recently in the last probably 12 months, me and John have just been kind of whatever Vault puts out. We kind of just been getting. We love everything they do. They have this one book called The Tumnal that me and John. It's kind of like at the top of both of our. Yep, exactly. It's the top of both of our pull lists, and we love it. It's my favorite ongoing book right now. I don't know if it's ongoing. I mean, I'm sure it'll end at some point.
Yeah.
But it's just so good. So yeah, Vault's where it's at. But yeah, I still like Black Mass, Aftershock. I like some of those other ones as well. There's this cool one, a shop out in Portland that one of our buddies, Sleepy Reader 666. It's his local shop, and they actually do some printing of comics. And so anything that they put out, I also think is super, super cool.
That's awesome.
I can't remember their name, but Sleepy Reader, you can check him out. He'll talk about the books every time he's out. So follow him on YouTube. But yeah,
awesome. I was just curious. Yeah, I'm actually right there. Like I said, Vault and Aftershock have been putting out some really good stuff. It's funny though. You talk about Image, and yes, they are independent, but they've been around so long. I feel like they're like the third mainstream company.
The big three. I agree. It's the big three now.
They're they're like the part of the big three now. That's how I feel about them.
Yeah, exactly. All right, who's up?
I think it's John.
Is it my turn? Holy crap.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to save my last three because they do technically run. But this next one has been an intriguing one. So I learned about this series through Comic Book Bear's Star Wars special. And This is Star Wars The High Republic, an offering from Marvel Comics, issue #5. This is telling stories from an area of Star Wars, or a time of Star Wars that's like not been touched before. And so when I heard a lot of positive buzz about the book, I had already missed issue #1, and it had sold out, which told me they must be doing something right. I gotta get this, you know. So I actually acquired issue #2 first, and then I got like a second printing of issue #1 eventually, and then I was able to, you know, enjoy it and get caught up. So it's just a different time. It's not like your traditional Empire versus Rebels or anything like that, but it's telling more just character development of back when Jedi were more aplenty. Before Order 66. And so I personally have been just really appreciating that, you know, just something different, something fresh, but within the same you. So it kind of makes me think like if Disney Plus shows were comic books, this might be it, you know. And I just appreciate The Mandalorian as well for that additional content, because it's just such a rich universe to pull stories from. My Star Wars collection, likewise, even the short runs tend to add up a little bit. I almost have a whole long box just of Star Wars stuff now. So it's alarming and concerning that Darth Vader has so much great stuff out there, and Dr. Aphra and all that, and now Star Wars: The High Republic. So, oh, look at you! That's an amazing shirt. I love that.
I know. I was like, I'm repping Star Wars today. You know.
Hey.
Yeah, I don't have no rep for anything nerdy today. I feel left out. I didn't put on a nerdy shirt, but
we're getting some Portland wisdom here. Hold up. So Comic Crack's writing in saying evening all, and we say good
Floating World.
Back to you. Floating World. That's the name of the shop. That's right.
Oh, nice.
Thank you. Yeah. And then Mike just confirms. Yep, got some stuff from Floating World. Good stuff. Yep. So I got to get out there again sometime, man. It's been a while. I miss Portland. Last time I was out there was a cousin's wedding and a lot of coffee shops. Voodoo Donuts, Blue Star Donuts, the city-long bookstore, like a block-long bookstore that they have. That's amazing.
Oh man,
And I did go to a couple of comic shops. I don't remember like the names of them though, but I think I have pictures of all their storefronts in my Facebook album. But yeah, I got to get out there again sometime.
Yeah, I do too. I got a few friends that live in Portland, so I want to go out there and do comedy and also go check out comic book shops. It's like my favorite things to do.
Hell yeah, man. All right.
You are up.
Before I do my next one, I'm just curious. Do either of you guys use any apps to keep track of your comics or anything?
I do.
What do you use?
So I use the CLZ or Collectors with a Z. And it's web-based software. It's very nice, and it also has an app for your phone then. So I log everything on my computer, and then when I'm at the shop, I can pull it up and just, when I'm looking at issues, I can see what's missing or whatever.
Yeah. No, the reason I ask is because there's at least I like it, but there's one called League of Comic Book Geeks that is a really good app for this because it's in sync with Diamond and with previews and stuff. So like you can see what's coming out each week, or what's supposed to. Obviously, shipping delays and printing delays and things get in the way of that. But you can also, do your subscription, so then you'll see what's on your pull list coming out, and they email you every week. Hey, this is what's coming out this week. That's on your pull list, and blah 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 blah. And it's a really good app, but
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, no, I'm with John right now because I just asked that same question, Dan. 3 weeks ago or whatever, John?
Yeah.
And I didn't know. So that night I downloaded that app. And John, I'll tell you what, dude, I have had so much fun with this app, this CLZ. Yeah. I just inputted my comics tonight, but I've got 1,057 comics into my database right now, so only about 8,000 to go. But that's a big chunk, and that took a lot of time. But I'll tell you what, man, like I got my second COVID shot, and I wasn't feeling very good. I couldn't really play video games. I couldn't really read because my mind. But you know what I could do? Scan 1,000 comics, and I just like put on a podcast and scan so many comics. It was so relaxing looking at all these comics I had. So yeah, I haven't really got into the what is upcoming with this. I don't know if it does anything that like with the one that you talked about. So maybe I should have both, so then I can kind of.
Maybe it's cool because the League of Comic Book ones has a barcode scanner too, so like you can actually input your comics by scanning the barcodes and stuff, and then it has really good search tools, and maybe what you guys are using does that too. I don't know. I just wanted to mention that.
I'll use your comics, and it does all sorts of crazy stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. Very similar to this. All right, next on deck. This is another one I just picked up. As I did another Zenscope, the Grimm Universe, the quarterly. I've been picking up some of these quarterlies randomly. They're a little more expensive. This one's featuring Grendel. 72 pages. Like I said, they're like $8.99, so they're a little bit more expensive, but it's essentially 3 comic books, right about that. So in one, so it ain't so bad. So yeah, hopefully it's good because, like I said, this is another one that I picked up on a whim.
Yeah, sweet, man. Zenescope, why not? My next one is a Vault comic. This is heavy. These guys are in purgatory, and they're taking care of business with angels and having to take people out. And it's got this, it's a really fun, fast-paced story that has to do with angels and assassination. So, yeah, loving it.
Nice.
Wow. I missed that one, Tom. Shame on me.
Yeah. If you think it's on issue 9? What's this? Oh, never mind. Issue 6. So not that far, I guess.
Oh,
but yeah,
okay.
It's still it's coming out pretty regularly.
Gotcha. All right. Well, these last 3 all go together, but if we have a couple extra books, I'll just divvy them out if that's okay.
And I only have one left.
I only have one left because I already showed you guys the trade paperbacks that I got. So
well, I'll just group them all together. So as I always like to say, all aboard the X-Men train. So X-Men right now has a ton of titles coming out. 3 dropped this week. And they're all interconnected. It's like literally watching Guiding Light or General Hospital, but with superpowers, and I totally freaking love it. My wallet, on the other hand, hates it, but that's okay. We make it work. So first offering that came out, Children of the Atom, issue number 3, controversial book when this was announced last year, Dan. When they premiered this, everyone was like, "Ugh, what does this creative team think they're doing? This book's gonna be garbage." Blah blah blah. Oh, another X-Men spinoff. I gotta say, this has been a pleasant surprise, and I am all about it. I am here for it. These 5 kiddos they have mutant-like abilities, but in issues 1 and 2, it's revealed that they're actually depowered. And they actually try to go through this plant-like gate that leads mutants to an island called Krakoa, and they step through the gate, and then they just appear on the other side, so they don't actually go through it. So then that leaves you wondering, what the heck's going on? Like, are they mutants or not? And so this issue evidently gives a lot of truth bombs, and I'm so excited to read it as to more about who they are, their background, maybe what happened with their powers. I don't know. But I love getting to know young superheroes because these are the people that appear randomly in issues down the road that build up those new teams. And it's kind of fun to see where they came from. And so, yeah, Children of the Atom issue number 3. So stoked.
Speaking of young superheroes, did you guys watch Invincible on Amazon Prime?
Yes.
Oh,
Tom. So
wow.
mean. It is so mean. It is such a kick in the balls.
Yeah.
Woo. Woo.
Yeah. I think you would enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, I have the comic. I love it. So I will watch it. It just I got Paramount Plus, and it has all the trashiest TV shows of all time. So I've been too busy watching like MTV Road Rules Real World Challenge and Ink Master and Bar Rescue.
Please
it's
stop.
Like literally the trashiest.
Please stop talking.
I love Bar Rescue.
The trashiest, dirtiest shows of all time, but I love them, so I haven't watched a show that would mean something.
They're great shows, but you need to get your priorities right.
I know, dude. But Paramount Plus, I should have never subscribed. My son wanted to watch the SpongeBob movie. It was the only way to watch it, and now we're way too far down the rabbit hole.
Yep. Oh, goodness gracious. Getting some wisdom really quick here from Mike. CLZ is the name of the app. That is absolutely right. Followed with, it is frustrating when the barcode is on the back of the comic and you have to remove that bag and board.
I know. It's so annoying.
Yep. So with my next book, that said, we can say thank you to Jeff Johns and Gary Frank for putting that right on the front. We can bag and board this comic, and then we can save it. But of course, I don't bag and board anything. I usually just and then I find out when I was going through that CLZ, I scanned a bunch of comics, and those Spider-Man Noirs were just in, loose that I had around. Well, since the movie came out, those are, I guess, some pretty hot comics that people want, and probably should have took a lot better care of the ones I had. But that's the way it goes. Still won't take care of this comic either because I'm really excited to read it. I'll probably read it a bunch of times, lay it on my couch and a bunch of stuff. But dude, Geiger, Radioactive Man from Jeff Johns doing independent Image comics from the big 3, as Dan says.
Yeah. Also, I totally just broke my train of what I was talking about because I'm a dork and I just got totally sidetracked.
Yeah, I interrupted you. I asked because you were talking about young superheroes, and I wanted to see. I interrupted because you were still doing your X-Men run
X-Men
there.
train. That's right. Up next, you guys. We're getting serious business, so we need to get on our suit coats and our neckties. We're going to work with X Corp. So part of the story here is that Krakoa has a drug that basically cures anything, and they are pushing it out major, like proper channels, and also black market, so that they can control all the supplies. And this is the business team of mutants that manages that. So I am definitely curious to see how it goes, and I had to go with the Scotty Young variant just because I freaking loved it, and it just made me crack up so much.
That actually looks pretty adorable.
He always does
Everything
that.
Scotty Young does, and I love word bubbles on the cover.
Yeah, so I live for this one. I just was like, I'll scoop that up. It was one of 2 left, and I was like, check. The final offering. This one is said to be a little bit of a ground shaker here. X Factor issue number 9 with Mojo verse rock concert cover of some sort. Guarantee we're probably gonna have some tragedy striking here, but again, who knows what's going on. I 2 or 3 titles come out a week for this whole X-Men big event thing, and it's been going on forever, Dan. Like I have
believe
almost a full short box of just X titles,
I
and
believe
it's exciting. But
That's
it's
my
also,
complaint.
It's also like, holy fuck it. You know? But here's the problem: they're all good. I can't drop one. I can't drop one because I like them.
That's always unfortunate.
Yeah,
stuck with it.
They got me.
All right, my final one is another quarterly that I picked up. I went with Grim Tales of Terror, featuring Hellfire. Just like I said, I was just walking through the shop and I was like, oh, I remember I was looking at this last week and I didn't pick it up, and why not? So I figured I'd pick it up, see what it's like. And I think I just read another book. I forget the title. It's another Zen Scope where they referenced Hellfire. And so I was like, oh, Hellfire was in my head. So I was like, oh, there's Hellfire. I'll pick it up. So I did. Hopefully it's good. The one thing I like about the Zen Scope stuff, too, is like, even if I read something and the story's not that great, I still appreciate the artwork. So it's still like, oh, I still don't mind having this.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Mm-hmm. Oh, man. Mike is just rocking it tonight. You guys rock. Excellent dose of positivity. Thanks, guys. Good info. Very refreshing. Well, thank you, Mike. We do our best to keep it lighthearted, but also so serious because we take our books very seriously.
That's right.
And
mine were all bagged and boarded.
Yeah, you're dedicated. I'm a slacker. I just do bags. So.
Oh. Yeah. Amateurs over here.
I know. I'm a rookie. I know. We'll have to have you back so you can keep bringing that influence. Be a role model, Dan.
I try my best.
Awesome. Cool. Tom, what else do you got?
I'm out, man. I'm out. I mean, we've got our official invitation a long time ago, but I did get the guide, that for the upcoming event. They've asked me and John to be a big part of it or whatever. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know for what our plans will be. We'll have to worry about that later, but some sort of gala's coming up, and Emma's constantly texting me like nonstop, and it's like, dude, I can't have my wife is upset. The cleavage is constantly coming through. She's sending her selfies. It's like, please, not right now. It's just stuff we have to deal with at a comic book look. You know what I'm saying, John?
The cleavage doesn't bother me, but
the struggle is real.
I'm on a different operating system, bro. But it's gonna be okay. What you guys in 2 weeks? Tom and I are going to be joined by a special guest. We are actually going to be on the green carpet, I believe, is what they're calling it, because it's a plant-based world. Oh, hi, Mike again. Sorry, I clicked a button on my keyboard. I'm like talking with my hands over here. We're in 2 weeks. We're going to be guesting at the Cocoa event, the Hellfire Gala, we are going to be seeing the guests in their awesome outfits and critiquing them. So it is going to be a splendid evening. Tom and I are going to be dressed to impress, along with our special guest, and likely enjoying some hors d'oeuvres and maybe a champagne flute.
Where does that take place?
It's gonna be.
What's the name of the island, John? What's the name of the island we're going to? Yeah, Krakoa is where it takes place.
Oh wow, they're flying you out and everything.
Yeah.
Wow, you're getting
Quintjet. The Quintjet will be coming and pick us up.
We nice. Said they go, where are you based at? We said Sioux Falls, and they said where, and then we had to give them the X and Y coordinates. Yeah.
John dropped a pin and had to send it.
Just share your location on your phone. Okay, we got it. Okay.
Here's my longitude and latitude. I'll see you next week.
Oh man. So 2 weeks from now, you guys, Tom and I are going to be bringing it hot with a special guest, and we are very excited for the show. But we are going to be dressed to impress, and we are going to review some outfits, and it is going to be phenomenal.
Yeah, I'm going to be bringing my full tip gun. As I said, I have been watching a lot of trashy episodes of TV. I've seen every season of Project Runway. This will not be a problem for me to lay it on the line. I don't want it to get too matchy, and you sometimes just got to make it work. So I hope that we can do this.
I have faith in you.
Thank you. Dan, where can people find you, man? Where should they check next? How can they listen to you and Louis Anderson chat about comedy?
Yeah, they can definitely listen to me and Louis Anderson chat about comedy because he was on a recent episode of The Art of Bombing. You can get the Art of Bombing podcast wherever you get podcasts. To make it easy, though, you can just go to Art of Bombing Pod D.com. And there's all kinds of links to go to wherever you like to listen to podcasts there. As far as, and then the podcast is also available on all social media at Art of Bombing Pod, at Art of Bombing Pod. And then for comedy, if you're in the Sioux Falls area, I'm actually going to be performing May 29th at Holiday Inn. I don't have the exact details, but it's a big show. Yeah, but I'll be in Sioux Falls at the Holiday Inn. But you can find all that information on my website, danbublitz.com. So if you're in Sioux Falls and you want to come see a live comedy show at a big hotel, just go to my website. And then you can also find me on all social media platforms at D Bublitz Comedy. D Bublitz Comedy, Twitter, Instagram, the TikTok, and the YouTube. Awesome.
Well, thank you so much, Dan, for coming on. It's been a super fun time learning your history, hearing about the Watertown times, learning about bringing you all the way up to where you're at, and then seeing all those cool books that you brought. Cool to see a light on Zenescope Comics. Thanks for bringing that to our to the show today, man. It's been a great time.
And my pleasure. This was fun.
Yes, awesome.
All right. Well, per tradition, this is where Tom says, "All right, John, shut us down." So here we go. It's, of course, your boy John on Demand. Check my @JohnOnDemand tag there right beneath my beautiful face. Find me on Twitter with that. We got @TomStuDivine on Twitter as well. And then @A Comic Book Look if you want the whole kit and caboodle. Join us on the Facebook group, you guys, for real, at A Comic Book Look. Just click the join button. We'll get you in there. It's fun, casual, cool conversation. We just have fun. That's what it is. That's what comics is all about. We are proudly sponsored by Rainbow Comics. So if you're in the Sioux Falls area, 42nd in Minnesota, and if you're in Lincoln, Nebraska, they got a site there as well with a great crew ready to help you out with your comic book needs.
It's got a great store too if you haven't been in there.
Yes. So definitely check us out. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. So until 2 weeks from now, it's your boy John on Demand. We got Tom and special guest Dan. We are going to roll out and wish you guys the happiest week.